Please call the roll.
Yes, sir. Ross?
Here.
Hamilton? Here. Hart? Here. Robinson? Here. Baxter? Here. Harris? Here. Fowler? Here. Insulaco? He is not here.
He's on the phone. Will everybody please stand for the pledge of allegiance and the prayer by Mr. John Barber?
Let's bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we come before you this evening and we thank you, Lord, for this wonderful day. We thank you for this wonderful city. We thank you for these leaders, Lord, that you've provided for us. We pray for their wisdom. We pray for your grace. Lord, we pray for safety for the first responders in this city. Lord, do put their lives on the line each and every day for us. We just thank you so much for all these things. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So moved.
Motion, there's a motion, there's a second.
Ross?
Yes.
Hamilton? Hart? Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Fowler?
Yes.
Insulaco?
Yes.
Thank you. In communications, would y'all like to pull any on communication? I think we have one, is what I've got.
One
Is
communication.
that what we've got, Taylor?
Just one, sir.
Just one?
Accept and file communication 1.
You have a second?
Second.
All right. Ross?
Yes.
Hamilton? Yes. Hart?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Fowler?
Yes.
Insulaco?
Yes.
Thank you. I don't have any presentations, so let's go forward.
That moves us to old business, sir.
Thank you. Please.
02507, Councilmember Robinson.
Please call it.
An ordinance granting a special use to allow an event center in an I-2 zone for certain real property located at 305 Phillips Road in the city of North Little Rock, declaring an emergency for third reading.
I have a couple of amendments. I would like
Before you make the amendments, remember, we have to get a motion and a second first, and then.
There's a
Okay.
motion to adopt and there's a second.
Okay, thank
Now
you.
there's an amendment on the floor. Thank you, Ms. Robinson.
Okay, I have a couple of amendments. The last time, we talked about, I mentioned about time, so I noticed that the restaurant, as well as the Comedy House, they close around 11:30. So I don't have a problem with this event center closing at 12 o'clock because that would ease some of the traffic in that area. But I do have a couple amendments, so
Go ahead.
you want me to read the amendment? Oh, okay.
I don't have one.
Section 2, paragraph 3. This is amendment number 1. Provide licensed security for events serving alcohol. Events with attendance of 500 people or more will require 2 licensed security guards.
Do you want to know all of your amendments, or you want to do them one at a time?
I told Ms. Robinson we need to do them one at a time.
All right, there's the first one then. Okay. So there's an amendment on the floor. That's the first one. Yes, ma'am, Ms. Ross?
Can I just make it a suggestion? Could we put minimum of 2? That way,
A minimum of 2.
because with 700, you may need more. I don't know if that, if
Okay.
you don't mind, I just think that.
Oh, I don't mind at
Okay.
all. A minimum of 2 is fine with me.
Okay. Is there,
I have to, there's on the amendment, there's some
Is there a
amendment, so I need a second.
Second.
That's what I'm going to
Okay.
need. Ms. Ross?
okay.
On the First Amendment?
First
All right. On the First Amendment, Ross?
Yes.
Hamilton?
Yes.
Hart?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Fowler?
Yes.
Insulaco?
Yes.
Ms. Robinson?
Okay, the second amendment, and there's a church directly across the street from this event center. It's, I spoke with the pastor. The event center address, I think, is 305 Phillips, so this may be 304 or 306, but anyway, there's a church across the street as well as a barber shop. And I mentioned to the pastor that the event center will be open from 8 a.m. to 12 a.m. And what the pastor said was he did not have a problem with the event center being across the street, but when he has church service, church activities, or a funeral, he wants access to his parking space, and the barber wants access to his space. So my amendment number 2, provide one on-site parking space per 5 occupants per the fire marshal's approved occupancy load. All required parking/drive aisles are to be paved, concreted, and meet the fire marshal's requirements for weight load before a business license can be issued.
All right, and let's do this right now. Have a little discussion on this, if you don't mind. I've got 2 people, so if you don't mind.
That's fine.
I'm going to open up. I see Miss Shirley Abel. Please come up to the mic. And Darlene, you're there, Darlene? Okay, I see you too.
Now, is this on the amendment
This is,
or on the?
this is on the whole, this is on the
on the whole
amendment and
thing?
the whole.
I think then that we should probably
Get the amendment.
do the amendments first since
It's
what
up to
we
you.
have right now
I know.
is
How many
on
more
the
amendments do we have, Ms. Robinson, do you
This
think?
is the only, this is.
Ms. Robinson, is this the only 2? Okay, let's, hang on, Ms. City Attorney says, let's go ahead and get these 2 mentioned. I'll bring y'all up at this time then. So there is an amendment on the floor for the second amendment.
Is there a second?
Second. All right.
Motion and a second on the second amendment.
On the second amendment, Ross?
Yes.
We have
Hamilton?
discussion,
We're about, yeah, hang on, just on the amendments, all we're talking
sorry.
about.
but we
I
haven't
know, hang
discussed
on,
the
just-
amendment.
I mean, you can discuss the amendment now, because
Okay.
the second amendment's on the floor.
Been
so-
read, and so there's a
Okay.
motion and there's a second. Let's sit tight. Ms. Abel, you're up now, please.
No, is
You-
it on the
No.
parking? Is this
It's on the parking.
Okay. Okay, I'm sorry.
Fix that, it's on the parking, I think, the whole thing.
Okay.
I think I have 2 people, and I saw Mr. Clifton. I'll bring you up in just a second if you don't mind with this, okay? Ms. Abel, please.
My name is Shirley Abel. I'm a resident of Rose City. I just want to remind y'all that this event center location is only 7/10 of a mile from our nearest residence, not the mile that was stated in the paperwork. One of the concerns we do have is the lighting for the parking out there. We drove out there, we looked, there's no lighting for the comedy club parking. There are 2 small lights on the building of where the event center is going to be that are very small. They don't do well lighting at all. The front of the building's not well lit. There is more lighting to the back of it. But the residents would really like to see some additional lighting for all of the parking over there for the safety of our police officers if they get called in for anything. And also, it'd be better for the safety of whoever's going to be at this business if they're coming and going after dark that they can see. That is pretty much, I guess, about all I need to say at this point. We just want to make sure that the neighborhood doesn't get set back on the progress we've made so far. We have a lot of Hispanics moving into the neighborhood, and we're just thrilled to have them. They're going in, they're buying up property that's been dilapidated, and they're rehabbing them and putting families in them. We've had several new builds out there, and when they've gone on the market, they've gone on starting out at $199,000, which is what we like to see. We just want to make sure, again, that the business does not set us back because we're having some disruptions to the neighborhood, we're having noise issues, traffic. We're starting to make some progress, and this type of business is just going to bring minimal tax dollars in. It's not like a regular retail type store. The retail stores, they bring in a lot more tax dollars than this type of business, and I really wish Mr. Clifton would look at his other properties on up Broadway a little bit to see if maybe there is another location that would really work better for this event center that would be further away from the residents.
Thank you.
So,
All right, we're still talking about parking. Darlene, you want to come up and talk about this?
Not parking.
All right, I'm going. So let me go ahead and get through this parking amendment. So,
Harris has his-
Mr. Harris,
I'm still trying to find out where the church is. Can you go back and, on that deal and show me
I think we just had it.
where's the church?
The church is in the shopping center, and it's directly across the street.
So the church is in the shopping center?
It's on the end of the building.
To the right.
Hang on, come on up, Mr. Clifton, if you don't mind. I've lost my little pointer, but please
I mean, I
show
was
us.
there and I just didn't see no church, so I just didn't know.
You see the large building on your right?
I think I've got it right now, I believe, so hang on just a second. Is that it right there?
Okay.
It's right there.
That awning.
That is a funeral home and a church that does have services on Sunday morning. And I'm perfectly willing to accommodate his parking spaces, whatever he needs. Thanks. But I do have,
Hang on just a second. I was going to check, make sure there's any more questions on that.
Where's the barber shop?
Next door to the church.
Yeah.
So there were,
What you're
So they
seeing
were-
right here is this is a, go ahead.
different parking, completely different ownership. This is a shopping center. Where we're talking about is this building right here.
okay.
And this is all the parking area back in here, the asphalt parking. This is asphalt that will be extended across the front. This is asphalt here. This will be all gravelled back in here. Driveways coming out here, and driveways coming out here.
Okay.
So we're still talking about parking. There's an amendment on the floor. Ms. Hart.
So is there a question about, because based on what I'm looking at, where the building is versus across the street, is there a belief that the parking from this facility will go over into that? Because how many parking spaces are you proposing
We have,
over here?
according to the fire marshal's calculations of the size of this building, they need 128 parking spaces for 641 people. The applicant is willing to limit his occupancy rate to 500 people, which would require 100 parking spaces. All the asphalt around will take up 49 of those spaces. This leaves the other 1.2 acres back here needing 110 parking spaces, which would give 158 parking spaces for the site, that only 128 is required for the size of the building.
I get all that, Linda. I'm just not, I don't know what your amendment is. We're talking about a barber and a funeral home, and are they concerned that there might be an event while there's a funeral going on and that might not have I'm just confused.
The pastor said that he has church activities, he has church services, and he may have a funeral.
On Sunday.
So I don't know what day the churches have services whenever. So what I'm saying is the pastor doesn't have a problem with the event center. He's just saying whenever his church need access to parking, they want to have access. That's all they're saying.
Ms. Ross?
Is Sean here, Spencer?
John, come on out. Come on. I see I have him here. I knew he was coming up. Miss Darlene, I have to, here's what I'm going to do with the amendment before we pass the ordinance as amended. I'll bring you up at that time, okay? All right, Sean, did you hear the question, sir?
I did not.
No, I haven't asked it yet.
He had.
I think what we're asking is, I think the question is, if I'm not mistaken, the parking lot. So is the parking lot be suffice to say that with 500 people in it, the parking would be okay? What'd you say, Mr. Clifton?
100.
100, and that, but when you do that, how does it have to be shown as parking?
So what the requirements that would be one for every 500, or one for every 5 persons. So
And
that
he's
would be 100 spots.
He is
And the
go ahead.
requirement is for it to be paved. And so I think from what I'm hearing is you're asking for a waiver of some of those paved spots. So that's something he's asking for on there. But we would require 100 paved spots with the aisles and the handicap and sidewalks all, ADA acceptable.
Got you. Ms. Ross?
That was my question, because I don't remember us approving gravel parking lots. Is that,
So it's just part of the special use, and that's what he's asking.
okay, I just don't remember
Asking
ever
for you to
doing
do.
that.
So,
I want us to follow the policy. Churches come in, they have to have paved lots, they have to have trees. We haven't asked for any trees, but I want us to follow the policy at how we treat everybody else. I've had a lady that attends another church, and we were talking about the event center, and we mentioned parking, and she said to me, when we built our church, we had to put in paved parking, and they had to be where you had to be able to count each thing. And so she said, nobody gave us a waiver. And so I want us to follow this policy. That's all I'm asking. And this amendment is based on the policy.
Anybody? Ms. Cole, Ms. Hart?
So for clarity's sake, the parking that the applicant is suggesting is not paved?
There's enough parking on the site. Some of it's gravel, some of it's paved.
How much of it is paved? How much of it is gravel?
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's see that picture.
We have 48 spaces that are paved, and there's space for 110 spaces in the back that are not paved.
Gravel.
That's what the special use was asked for and passed at the planning commission. That's what I'm asking for here now. 48 paved spaces will accommodate 240 people. And there has been multiple times that parking spots in parking places and businesses have been granted waivers for gravel as opposed to pavement.
All right, so far, before we go any further, there's an amendment on the floor to have parking up to 100, if I'm not mistaken.
He's willing to do
If he's willing to do that, but
100 parking
but you're
places
also
on site.
on site, but you're also asking that this part be paved, is that correct?
Yes, according to the policy of planning.
So that is the amendment on the floor.
And has,
That it meets,
Go ahead, Ms. Hart.
I'm confused about what the language is suggesting that you have to, that this paved space has to allow for 100 spaces, and you're saying that the paved space allows for 240 spaces? 240
He said
persons?
48.
It's 240 persons. There's paved spaces, there's paved 48 spaces existing now, which will allow for 240 people.
Ms. Ross?
Okay, this is just 48 paved spaces times 5 is 240 people, I get that. And so you could accommodate up to 240 people on paved surface, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And then if they have 500, then you're going to have, what, 260? 260 on gravel, okay.
Go over to the gravel overflow.
Okay, 260 people on gravel.
Ms. Fields, correct me now. So where I think we are right now, there's an amendment on the floor by Ms. Robinson.
Right.
To approve parking that would be paved parking. Right now, they have parking up to 48, and to meet the 100 that they're asking for, he needs 52 more paved parking spots. Is that correct?
well, and that's not the amendment that's on the floor.
I know.
Because,
We're doing it one at a time.
okay. The amendment on the floor.
Is?
We have, y'all look at your ordinance, right now it says provide one on-site parking space per 5 occupants per the fire marshal's approved occupancy code. Nobody's made an amendment to limit the occupancy to 500 yet. Ms. Robinson's amendment on the floor adds a sentence to this paragraph 4 that says all required parking drive aisles are to be paved, concreted, and meet the fire marshal's requirement for weight load before business license can be issued. And so it's to require that the parking be paved at the fire marshal's, based on the approved occupancy load.
Said it was up to 700.
And, you know, if 5
Right
people.
now, there's an
yeah,
amendment on the floor, is what we've
And that's the
got.
amendment on the floor. And I know that Ms. Robinson has proposed that amendment, and I think that there's been a second on it by Councilmember Hamilton. And I don't know if there's any more discussion or if it's ready for a vote.
And that's my question. Any more discussion up here? Anybody?
So basically, you cannot park on gravel with this amendment.
With the amendment,
Okay.
as it stands, Mr. Clifton, I want to make sure everybody understands, as it amended right now, there's no parking on gravel.
And we can't,
Go ahead, Ms. Hart.
so we can't, because what I heard was a change in what the applicant was proposing as far as only allowing for 500.
Well, that's not the
That's
amendment
not the
that's on
amendment.
I know
the
that-
floor.
Okay, so,
I know that that's not the amendment. What I'm asking is, that part affects how this amendment plays out.
Well, it's Ms.
So-
Robinson's amendment. If somebody wanted to make an amendment to limit occupancy to 500, then that would be another issue. But when a council member makes an amendment, then they get to word it how they want to.
so right now, I'll go back again. The amendment on the floor is we have 48 spots that are paved, and what we're wanting to say is that the applicant cannot have any gravel parking to get to the 105, I think is what it would be, or something like that. Is that correct?
110 spaces.
110,
Right.
okay. So is that correct?
That is correct.
So now I have a motion and a second. Mr. Clifton, yes, sir?
Okay, I'd like to speak against that motion, please.
You can speak, but it's not, it's,
Okay.
again, you can speak real fast, but I got to limit because
Yes,
I've got to
sir.
get a vote on this,
Yes,
if you
sir,
don't mind.
sorry.
I'm sorry.
The restriction that Ms. Robinson is trying to put on this will effectively kill this project, and I think that she knows that. That's why she's asked for this to be put on, is my opinion. It's not to say that in the future, this would not be something that the applicant would be willing to do if he can come in, if it's a successful business, if it's ran right and done right according to all the rules and specifications of the city. But at this point, I think it's unreasonable to ask that of the applicant.
Okay. You've heard it. Now we have amendment. We have a second. Let's vote on the amendment, please.
Ross?
Yes,
Hamilton?
No.
Hart?
No.
Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
No.
Fowler?
No.
Insulaco?
No.
Okay. So that second amendment fails.
I was going to say, that's, the second amendment has failed. So right now, so we're back to any more amendments from this floor here? Ms. Robinson has none. Now, before we go forward, Ms. Darlene, Ms. Ross, I'll bring Ms. Darlene up before we vote on the thing. If you, well, go
I
ahead.
had an amendment.
All right, let me get her up here and I'll bring it, come back. Is it okay, Ms. Ross? Ms. Darlene, please, you got 3 minutes. Please.
And I use them very well, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
I stand again in support of the event center coming to Rose City to bring some life. I am a minister and I am a retail owner, been there 6 years in Rose City since I moved back to this great city I was born in. I see nothing but positive. I see our churches supporting this event center with different events for our children and stuff. So I really stand strong on bringing some positive things into our community. Again, I said I didn't want to speak on the parking, but I'm just going to throw this in there. The church I have attended several times, and each time I attended that church, there wasn't over 10 people there, 5 cars there. I do support his ministry, and I do go there, so there's not a lot of activity there. I've also visited the excuse me, the barber shop that's there, because I make it my business to get to know all the businesses in North Little Rock, being a business owner there. The barber shop may be open an hour a day with very few. We're trying to get him some more traffic, but there is no, real traffic there at the barber shop. Again, I stand very strong on this event center coming. We as Stewards of Christ Outreach Ministry will be supporting it for us bringing children in, you know, positive things into the event, having our church anniversaries there and all. I've talked with Mr. Clifton, and I'm gonna get a chance to personally meet the owner. And I really pray that we open this event center to bring something positive to the Rose City area.
Thank you,
for
Darlene.
listening.
Appreciate it. Ms. Ross?
Oh, I'd like to make amendment because you said that the fire marshal, that you were in agreement on the 500.
Fire Marshal, come up here, please.
Because that will reduce the number of parking spots.
Okay, I'm going to bring him up
An
with
idiot.
your amendment, so if you don't mind. Did you hear that from Ms.
No,
Ross?
the official total, did you get everything you needed to give what the,
So that, I believe y'all were provided a occupant load calculation that I came up with. That's based on a drawing that was provided to me. That's based on the assumption that, some assumptions, that it is set up the way that it was presented to me.
on that assumption?
On the life safety aspect of the building, I would not give any, I can't give any allowances for like egress capacity or things like that. If the city council, and sometimes reasonably, you can believe that the occupant load is actually going to be less people than what it calculates out to be, then the city can issue a variance on parking spaces. That's your prerogative, but I would not make any allowances on life safety issues, because in the worst case scenario that it does get packed out in an emergency, people not being able to get out fast enough could be terrible, and we don't want to make that mistake.
Right. So I'd like to make an amendment.
Yes, ma'am.
The limit of 500, you said that that's what he would be willing to do?
Yes.
So that would be my amendment, the limit of 500.
Second.
Motion on a second on the amendment. Did everybody understand the amendment?
All right.
Okay, there's a motion, there's a second.
Ross?
Yes.
Hamilton?
Yes.
Hart?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Fowler?
Yes.
Insulaco?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Miss,
and-
go ahead, Ms. Field, check us up.
And I've got that amendment, and I am, based on that and what Ms. Hart said earlier, I am going to suggest that the paragraph, the condition number 4, that somebody move to amend that to provide 1 parking spot per 5 occupants, per occupant, since, yeah, we'll put that, the paragraph before, that the occupancy is limited to 500.
All right, so
Is
on
there anybody
that,
that
on
would
that
make
4,
that?
you're saying
I'll make that
provide one
amendment. I'll do
on-site
that.
parking.
All right, thanks.
What you're saying, provide one on-site parking spot per 5 occupants per the fire marshal approved occupancy load at 500.
Well, just
Making it simpler.
just making it simple, because it's not
Okay.
the fire marshal, it's been agreed.
Just put-
that the occupancy level
Say
is
maximum 500, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you want? Okay,
Yes.
got you.
So
Everybody
I'll make-
understand that
That's my
now?
amendment. Need a second.
All right, there's a motion, there's a second.
Okay. Ross?
Yes.
Hamilton?
Yes.
Hart?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Fowler?
Yes.
Insulaco?
Yes.
All right, we've got the motion, and it's been amended.
Now we need a motion to adopt as amended.
As they say, about to say, now we need a motion to adopt it, has been amended.
Move to adopt as amended.
Motion,
Second.
there is a second.
Ross?
No, and let me explain something. We've set a huge precedent here by, sometimes we do 3 or 4, but when you're doing over 100 waivers on parking, I have to say no.
Hamilton?
Yes.
Hart?
Yes.
Robinson?
Because of the parking, I'm saying no.
Okay. Baxter?
No, in support of Mr. Robinson.
Harris?
Yes.
Fowler?
Yes.
Insulaco?
Yes.
We had 3 noes.
Pass is adopted, is my understanding, correct? Thank you.
On the emergency.
It's-
Emergency.
no,
And on the emergency,
clause
Ross?
now.
Yes.
Hamilton?
Yes.
Hart?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Fowler?
Yes.
Insulaco?
Yes.
All right, that moves to consent, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mayor and council members.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to go to the consent agenda. I'm asking for a voice vote. First, I'll ask if you'd like to pull any of the consent agenda. Hang on just a sec, Nathan, please. It starts with R26 and goes all the way through to R2548. Yes, sir, Mr. Hamilton.
I would like to pull R2528 through R2538, all 10 of those.
1, 2, through 38, you said, correct?
39.
You did say through R2538. You want to pull all?
Yes, I'd like to pull all of them,
Okay.
all 10 of the agreements.
So what I'm going to go is go back and ask that we approve by an aye vote R25, 27, and 28, going to R25, 39 through R25, 43. Can I get an aye vote on those? Wait a minute, I gotta keep on going. And it goes all the way through 44 to
Right, that's
48.
what I was-
I'm sorry. Can I get an aye vote on those?
Aye.
Aye.
Those say pose, say nay. Got it. So now where are we going to be talking about, Mr. Hamilton? I'm sure we're going to be talking about R25 through R38, correct?
Well, since they've been pulled, they need to be
I'll be reading them.
I'm
read
about to
one at
get-
a time.
And I think we'll,
But that's what I was about
but
to
you're
do.
right, we probably will be able to figure it out on the first
So
one,
all the
I
rest have
hope.
been approved. You're up, Mr. Hamilton. R25, 28. Let's go.
R2528, Mayor Hartwick.
Please.
A resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk to enter into an agreement with the Arkansas Museum of Fine Arts Foundation.
Move for
Move for
adoption.
adoption.
Second.
Motion to amend?
Wait a minute, there's a motion to adopt, and there's a second, now there's a motion to amend. All right,
Yes.
Mr. Hampton.
On R2528, an agreement with services provided by the Arkansas Museum for Fine Arts. I'd motion to amend Section 2 of the resolution, and please let me know if read along with me.
Okay, I'm reading along. Thank you for.
I want to make sure I get it, yeah. Amend Section 2 of the resolution. First, I'd like to amend the amount to $35,000. I would like to amend, my second part of that amendment is the last line to read after the comma, said amount having been included as a line item in the 2025 budget already approved and legally appropriated by this city council. And the third part of that resolution amendment in Section 2, or I would like to remove Section 3 of the resolution. And then I'd like to amend Section 3 of the agreement. As considerations for the services as provided for in paragraph 1 above, the city will make a lump sum annual payment to AMFA in the amount of $35,000.
Does everybody understand the amendment on this one? Is there any questions on the amendment?
Yeah,
Go ahead, Mr. Harris.
well, I'm just asking, what are we doing?
What it looks like he's done on this is that we've, in our budget that we passed, we've amended it, we passed 35,000. In this amendment here, we're wanting to pay half of it now and half of it later on this year. But he's amended to go ahead and pay the whole 35. Is that my correction?
That's correct, except for this agreement. I would phrase it differently. I believe this agreement that's before us is not in line with the appropriation we made with the budget. I'm okay with discussing how much we give them, when we give it to them, all kinds of stuff, but I believe we've had this discussion when we made the appropriation. I believe, well, there's a lot I don't know, and so I have some questions.
Ms. Ember, please come forward.
Yes, I will have some questions for her.
Ms. Robinson?
When I,
Sorry, he still has the floor. I apologize. Go ahead.
when I learned about this new policy of splitting some of these appropriations that we had made as a council in half, and given the resolution, or the agreement was if funding is available, it made me wonder what an appropriation by this council was. have serious concerns about the phrase, if funding is available in this context. I mean, if the council's already appropriated this money, if the budget is balanced, then, and the reserves are strong, as we've been told, and we are spending millions of dollars and appropriating millions of dollars on other things without a designation of if funding is available, then I must ask if there's a sudden financial crisis that makes us concerned and justifies changing a 20-year practice, at least, that I know of. I think that's what's been done for 7 small nonprofits and not applying that designation of if funding is available to 3 other agreements that we have on this very agenda. Apparently, they don't need the if funding is available designation. So my first question is for our Chief Financial Officer. Why are we concerned about funding for some organizations, but we are not concerned about funding for other designations?
So I heard a lot of questions there that I can address, and starting with that one, this was brought to me by a council member. We discussed it. I think everyone has probably been watching the news, the radio, looking at the internet. The federal government has a lot of things going on. When this conversation was had, our federal funding had been frozen. It turned around and it quickly became unfrozen. They are still evaluating all of that funding, where some funds will be cut. I think current grants will go into litigation. I've been sharing information with Amy because I do think the federal administration is going to try to take away grants that were legally appropriated and municipalities entered into legal contracts. So I think this is a time that we probably haven't been through, at least I haven't in my 16 years. Right now, federal employees have until 11:59 p.m. to email what they accomplished, their 5 bullet points that they accomplished last week. If they don't respond, they're taking that as their resignation. If we have a large workforce in our community or surrounding communities that get laid off, and I do not know the number of federal workers that we have, but sales tax is our largest revenue source. It makes up about 48% of our governmental funds. Sales tax is what I would call a consumption tax. If you don't have the funds to go out and buy an iPad or buy a new dress or something like that you pay sales tax on, you're not going to do it. You're going to worry about feeding your family, things like that first, which affects the money that comes into our bank account. You are correct that at least as long as I've been here, the past 5 years, we have paid all of this at one time. That is not what all municipalities do. I did have someone ask me, this change that we're going to, would I consider that a best practice? And my answer to that is yes, I would consider that a best practice. The Government Finance Officers Association says that you should keep your money in your bank as long as you can to draw interest on it. If you get an invoice that's due in net 30, they tell you do not pay it until net 30 unless you get that discount. So I do think that this is a best practice. We notified these agencies when we made that decision, so they did not find out when the agenda was posted. You mentioned 3 organizations, the change not affecting. One of those organizations is PAL. They've never gotten a lump sum anyway. They do not get a lump sum. They won't get a half and half lump sum.
We do
They-
all their accounting. It never even goes
Yes.
into a different account.
They turn in all their invoices to my department and we process those.
Wonder if that's best practices.
So that's
I'm sorry,
not,
continue.
that's not applicable to them. Well, they are the North Little Rock Police Department Athletic League. They're part of the city. I think we've
I
got a
hope that by
contract.
appropriating money to the police department, we don't condition that on if funds are available. We're pretty sure about those.
We condition everything in our budget on if funds are available. You don't
Right.
pay my entire salary on day one.
Absolutely.
And I'm down 4 staff right now. I have to send a request in to the mayor, and then I have to sign every salary or hire request that comes through, and I sign that, and my initials go by the term if funds are available. And so at any point, if Amy sends a hire request over and says, I want to hire my attorney, I'm looking at our revenue, and she might have been appropriated those funds, but if sales tax has come down or something like that, I'm going to tell the mayor, I cannot put my initials as your CFO by this, and that's what you all pay me to do. And so just because we appropriate it in the budget doesn't mean we have to spend it.
Thank you.
Miss-
So
Can I? you
I'm
still- you still got
continuing the
floor.
discussion.
All right.
So I love the fact, you answered a question for me. Every appropriation is based on if funds are available. Every single appropriation. Even the ones that don't receive the designation, if funds are available. So now that would make me wonder what makes, why the designation, why now so suddenly? We didn't apply a designation specifically if funds are available on a number of agreements, and we don't specifically spell it out with a lot of different things. But we did in this case, and 48%, as you said, of our funding comes from sales tax. In the meeting that we had last Friday, I asked you how much of our money came from the federal government. And it's a pass-through. It's a really small percentage, but if they give us community development grants, it comes in and it goes out as community development grants. Our general fund, what we appropriated as a council, is funded by sales tax, property tax, intergovernmental, franchise fee, things like that. In the special appropriations, a name that could cover all sorts of sins, it was $12 million this year. There's a miscellaneous appropriation for $6 million. Is everything, if funds are available?
There wasn't a miscellaneous appropriation for $6 million. We added.
The revenue?
We added $6 million of carry forward to balance the budget. So that means we used $6 million that we've earned in prior years. That means that this year I have taken money from prior years. It's not balanced in the current year. Your best practice, you always budget your revenues and expenses to equal. You do not rely on carry forward funds to balance your budget.
So
that was a one-time expense for.
Okay. So I guess the question is, the financial risk and uncertainties you're talking about to justify making those 7 specific if funding is available change in, I believe, 2 weeks prior to this council meeting. And I didn't even know about it until someone emailed me and was like, why are we being split up? Why aren't other people? It's a best practice that I agree with. Every construction project we have is disbursement based. You do a pull. And it makes all the sense in the world, which makes it incomprehensible that all of a sudden we're only making that designation and disbursement policy change to 7 small nonprofit organizations in terms of designating them and calling them out specifically. My next question is for the city attorney.
If I could address that, the only two that we did not, so all of you know and don't have to read through them, is Potluck and Food Bank. And since those do go directly to feed people around the city, and they were small amounts, that's why. And this was a request that the mayor and I discussed. We fulfilled the request, and obviously you as the council members vote on this. I don't make this decision.
I appreciate that. I made a request that it be changed, and I guess mine
It had
wasn't.
already been done at
Hang on,
that point.
Ms. Robinson's been waiting, so go ahead, Ms. Robinson.
Our main job as council members is fiduciary. That's one of our jobs, and that's an important job. Now, the fact that they're going to give half the money now, then they'll come back in July or August and give the rest of the money. I don't have a problem with this decision because it's best practice. Are the nonprofits counting on us to sustain them?
So I only had one nonprofit that responded to our emails and said, I spend all this money at the first of the year, and I'm not going to be able to get the projects done if I don't get all the money in advance. So can I anticipate that, you know, it's a done deal and I'm going to get it? And I said, no, you cannot anticipate that it's a done deal. I cannot tell you that because we're going to have to evaluate that. These organizations should not rely on us to keep their doors open, because if they do, that's a bigger issue that we have that Amy and I would have to evaluate. Are these really standalone entities, or are they just another arm of the city? Because if they can't keep their lights on without our financial contribution, that means we can impose our will on them.
Mr. Hampton, I'll come to you, Ms. Hartnett.
I couldn't agree more with Councilmember Robinson in terms of it being a good policy. It is an excellent policy. And on this agenda at this very city council meeting, we are applying this best practice to 7 small nonprofits and 3 other, and we're not applying it to 3 other nonprofits. To quote Councilmember Linda Robinson from earlier, I want us to follow the policy of how we treat everybody else. This amendment is based on a policy. I don't care what the nonprofit does. If we want to have a discussion about taking them all out, that's fine. Y'all can have that discussion. I won't be talking too much about it because I can't handle that. But
Ms. Hart's got to go.
there is the way our reputation as a city and whether or not we are appropriating funds that we think we will have doesn't make sense to focus on $815,000 when we just appropriated $95 million. If it's all a big game of maybe, maybe not, why is it only being applied to $815,000? So I have a question for the city attorney, which is, what does if funding available mean? Who makes the decision whether or not the funds are in there or not?
And in July, when the finances are evaluated, and like Ember has spoken about, you know, there's a lot of uncertainty out there right now. That's something that would be brought to city council.
So if the finance department makes a definition that funding is not available and that they can only pay some people and not others, that out of this appropriation, they would come back to us?
That is correct, because if we are in a sticky financial situation, it is the decision of the city council whether to make that even more stickier or whether to proceed with that or not. You know, there are times when tough decisions have to be made on how you're going to spend the remaining money that you have. I know that we all hope that we do not get to that point and that the revenue projections hold up. Because of the uncertainty right now with the economy, with the present presidential administration, that's a decision, if things do go south, that the city council would need to make at that time, if this is passed as is, would make at that time on how they're going to prioritize funding for the remainder of the year.
But Amy, if everything's on budget,
Right.
we can go ahead and make the payment because
Right.
we've got the signed contracts
Right.
at that point.
Like paying salary.
Right.
If,
I gotta go, Ms.
I
Hart.
cannot,
I got to.
we make the, why are we singling out seven, I'm lost because we are singling out 7 people for a policy that actually applies to everyone,
We don't-
including, how we keep the lights on everywhere.
We don't pay anyone else
Let me
in
do
advance.
this. I understand. Hold that question, please. I've got to go to Ms. Hart, please. Ms. Hart, you had a question.
Yes, so 2 things I wanted to ask. One was, when the federal government is operating a certain way, has it been a practice of local municipalities or local governments to, in essence, like declare something that the federal government, like if there's a state of emergency, if there's an issue, they declare that there's a problem that's creating an issue here. And that prevents folks from relying on speculation versus facts, because speculation will always exist. So when I think about this type of situation, is there something that has happened factually that makes us believe? That was, that's my initial question, is has something happened outside of, we know that what's happening at the federal government has created a standstill in some instances, it has created some uncertainties in others, but how we manage ourselves through that is different. And so there's a question about, are we basing that on assumptions? Are we basing that on facts?
No, there are facts. The grant portals that we request our reimbursements for shut down for days. We had to take manpower and go full steam ahead and make sure we had every single reimbursement in, which affects every department. We had to get with police on theirs, engineering on theirs, where we didn't end up in that situation because of the facts that those portals were shut down. The last time this administration was in office, the HUD funding was drastically cut. I fully anticipate that our HUD funding will soon be cut based on the facts of the last time this administration was in office and what their goals and priorities are.
I've got to go to Ms. Robinson first, Ms. Fields, okay?
My thing is, even in state government, and I worked for state government 32 years, you never knew when you were going to get laid off. You're subject to come into work and they send you home. You're going home today. They shut your computer down and everything. They never got notices or 2-week notices, even though their salaries or whatever were in the budget. But something happened and they had to shut down. Just like they closed the portal. When they closed those federal portal, then we need money to step in and take care of whatever the city needs are at the time. This is good practice. Now, here is my problem. If I give you $60,000 for a year, you're going to be bothered that I say, I'm going to give you $30,000 from January through July, and then everything look good, you get the rest of the $30,000. So my thing is, if I'm giving you $60,000 in January or February, Are you spending that whole 60,000 up front?
And
When we give it to you for a year. Now, a lot of nonprofits would be totally happy to get $60,000 or $70,000 up front. One of the things that we do not do, we do not require our nonprofits to send us in an invoice every month on their spending based on compensation and reimbursement. That way, we sure enough could track money if we had them to turn it in to us every month for the portion of money that we've given them. So whether this is a last-minute thing or whatever, we gave them 2-week notice that this is what we're gonna do. So this is best practice. There's nothing to say that we have to give them notice. This is our money.
So Mayor, I wasn't finished. First of all, I said I had 2 questions.
Oh, okay, well.
So it's okay. No, y'all cut me off, but that's okay. So my second question is, I hear all the best practice thing. The challenge for me is that we are doing it in a 2-week period. I used to run a nonprofit, so I do recognize that nonprofits budget in the same way everybody else does. They allocate money, they have certain pots of that pie that comes from different streams of money, and they push it out. In the same way that we don't manage how they do theirs, they don't do it to us. So I don't think it's our place to judge whether or not a nonprofit is viable, if they're doing a good work, if we've already approved that. That's my concern. What I'm saying is that, my concern is it looks shady, if I'm just being honest. It looks shady that we're asking this in 2 weeks, flat out, with no reason. Because if we're saying that federal funding that comes to us that affects our ability to function as a city government or municipality is not affected by federal dollars. We're talking about extra things. We're not talking about, and please correct me if I'm wrong, we're not talking about vital city services. Those things will be taken care of based on the money that we have. We're talking about community block level grants. We're talking about other processes that's not directly connected to city services.
We're talking
viable
about
city services.
A big picture. We're talking about
Okay.
federal grants. We're talking about sales tax. It's been very volatile over the last 5 years since I've been here. There has not been 1 year that has been consistent. I'm trying to finalize the last year where we just got our numbers in right before I came over, and I'm trying to finalize that, but I can already tell you sales tax is down from last year. We do not know where that is going to sit. We have not had a consistent place. You all know that, the 6 of you who have been here with me the past 5 years, I give you those reports. But
what I do hear you saying is that as a chief financial officer, you feel like we should make this decision right now.
As the CFO, I think if it was my personal opinion, I can give you that, but it's your decision.
I know, but I'm asking you as the
I
subject
think-
matter expert in this situation.
I think this is a good idea, and.
Is this something that we need to do right now in this way?
You don't have to do this right now, but these people have been calling and asking, when will they get their money?
Is there something that might be of alarm to us or something that we need to consider that might come back to bite us in the tail if we do not do it this way right now?
If we don't pass it at all tonight, if we pull them and we don't vote, we can't pay half of it or all of it. We can't pay them a penny until we have these signed contracts. So after it passes through council, then the city clerk goes through getting the mayor to sign them all, and then all of these individuals have to come in. We have to make sure their business licenses are up to date, which, Diane, we've already been working on that, so we're pretty good there. Then my department gets them, and then we get them on our check processing cycle. So it depends on at what point they get signed. Do they come in the queue? If they come in on a Wednesday, those people aren't gonna get their money till the next Thursday because of how the check processing cycle. So you can pull it, but that's just longer that these people won't get their money. If we pass it like it is, they at least get half of it as soon as this process is done. And then if someone were to make some other proposal to pay the other half in 2 months, then, you know, I guess you could do that, but,
Another option, we could pass my amendment, and it all goes the way it has been.
and there is that option.
Let me, if I may, please.
Sure.
This came to me, y'all in the audience, this came to me approximately 2 weeks ago, and it came to me is to hold it all. With discussion, I said, I think the best thing to do right now is to make sure they get at least half, put it up for discussion, and then at the end of 6 months.
Mayor, what do you mean by hold it all?
At
Which,
one-
a council member wanted to hold it all, like all special appropriations?
Yes.
All 12 million of special appropriations?
The one that
Like
was-
Rock Region Metro, the jail funding?
It came to me to hold the ones that we was going to hold these. I asked that we do not hold those, that we go ahead and perform these, and that's how we came up with giving half now and half
For some of them.
for most for these.
I mean, we're talking about a big picture
We're
issue.
talking about Rock Region.
No, we're not talking about.
I know, but we're talking about a big picture issue here in terms of best practices.
Those two you just mentioned, the Rock Region, and they actually bill us and provide us invoices. The jail gives us a detailed list
I don't think,
of the inmates. and
I'll
that
say it
was
again.
different.
I agree it's a best practice. Now, we can get away from that. I mean, the arrogance of saying that we are concerned about a nonprofit, Ozark Mission Project spends all their money in the summer before August 1st. It doesn't even matter. Let's eliminate, I mean, we can eliminate
Well, let me do this.
nonprofits.
Let me do this.
Why are we taking some people?
West Virginia.
Being a fiduciary is our greatest responsibility. Part of that is transparency. For some reason, we're passing contracts for some people that have received a different designation in their contract and will be
About to.
Treated
Amen, about
differently.
to. All right, right now, Ms. Fields, if you don't mind, there's an amendment on the floor, is that
There's an
correct?
amendment on the floor, and may I say just one thing, Mayor?
Please, go ahead.
Before, there's an amendment that hadn't been seconded. One thing that I wanted, Ms. Strange had started to say, but was not able to finish, is these contracts are unusual as opposed to most of our contracts, and this predated my time here, and I didn't raise a fuss about it, but we generally do not pay for goods and services that have not been received. That's not a best practice at all. We recognize that these are nonprofits, but Ms. Strange knows, other department heads know, that they have wanted to get some money to put a hold on something so somebody can order a fence, and we say, we can't pay for goods or services that haven't been received.
So let me-
So, you know, if
Let
we
me beg
couldn't pay
you,
the
right
light
now, we
bill,
have
the
an
lights would
amendment
go off.
on the
We-
floor to vote for the amendment, and
Is-
let's go ahead and go.
Okay,
if we
we need
give.
a second on the amendment.
Is there a second on the amendment?
Second.
There's a second. So to vote for the amendment, as Mr.
Okay.
Hamilton has put forward.
Can I make a comment?
Yes, sir?
So I've listened to all the parties here, and there is one thing that I just want to throw out there, is that these entities that we're talking about, half the monies and everything, they are dependent on a strong city. And so I view the passing of this like it is to be fruitful for both parties, because the money is still going to be there. And this is just a way of, you know, all right, here's some now and here's some later. Boy, I'd love to have that in the building world, that's for sure.
So right now, so right now, Mr. Hamilton,
If what's good for the goose is good for the gander,
there's a,
should be applied to the other. So the amendment will be coming from me to apply the same policy to the other nonprofits. It doesn't matter what the nonprofit is, it's good all around.
all right, there's a amendment on the floor. It has a second.
Ready to vote,
Please.
sir. Ross?
No,
Hamilton? Robinson?
No.
Baxter?
No.
Harris?
Wait, what's this amendment?
The
Give
amendment,
them all the money at once. No,
No.
to pay it all at once.
A lump sum.
See, we didn't do this, we didn't do this right.
what's your vote? I ask.
Huh?
What's your vote?
I'd like to make an amendment to expunge the vote and start it over again, because I don't think everybody understood what's going on here.
That's right. I have to have a yes or no,
It
Mr.
hasn't been
Harris.
finished.
Again, this amendment is to,
His
I
amendment
made
is
the
to pay.
amendment
Go
to
ahead,
pay
Mr.
the
Hammond.
lump sum on this contract.
no.
Harris is no. Fowler?
No.
Insulaco?
Yes.
So
So it was,
It failed.
5-3, or
it's
3-5.
I got it. So the amendment has failed. So now we can go back. I guess I'm looking at R 2528 through 2930.
Well,
As it-
they've been pulled
Oh,
off
Paul,
the
they've been pulled
consent,
off. I'm
so.
sorry, you're right.
So
Let's
now
vote one at a
is,
time.
so is there a motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt.
And this is only on R 2528, the motion
Yes.
to adopt.
Second?
Second. Ross?
Yes.
Hamilton?
No.
Hart? No. Robinson?
No vote.
He's not in the room. Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Why, it's just so freaking confusing. Am I voting on this thing or not?
You're voting on it as
like
it's
it's
written right now.
Like it's printed?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Fowler?
Just so I'm clear, we are voting for two payments on
Yes.
R 2528.
Yes,
Yes.
thank you.
Insulaco?
Yes.
It did pass.
It passed.
Okay.
All right, thank y'all. R 2529, call it,
R 2529, Mayor Hartwick.
please.
A resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk to enter into an enhanced community service agreement with Argenta Arts Foundation, DBA Argenta Downtown Council.
Move for adoption.
Second?
Motion second.
Ross?
Motion?
Oh,
Make a motion to amend Section 2 of the resolution. I'd like to amend the amount to $240,000. I'd like to amend the last line to read, "Said amount having been included as a line item in the 2025 budget already approved and legally appropriated by this city council," and remove Section 3 of the resolution. I'd like to amend Section 3 of the agreement as consideration for the services as provided in paragraph 1 above. The city will make a lump sum annual payment to ADC in the amount of $240,000.
There's an amendment on the floor. Do I hear a second?
Did you
There's a second there, Ms. Hart. Ms. Hart made a second.
okay. On the amendment, Ross?
No.
Hamilton?
Yes.
Hart? Robinson? She is not in the room. Baxter?
No.
Harris?
No.
Fowler?
No.
Insulaco?
No.
Amendment has failed then. Please call R 2529. I ask for a motion and a second on that.
Well, it's been called, yeah.
Okay, has it?
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Do I have a
So
second?
now it needs a
Is there a
motion.
second on it?
No, now we need a
Motion to adopt.
Okay.
Motion's adopt. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Fields.
We have a second?
There was a second, wasn't there?
it's
Okay, there was a
the-
motion and a second. There was a
Okay.
motion to adopt. Thank you.
Ross?
Yes.
Hamilton?
Yes.
Hart? Robinson's not in the room. Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Fowler?
Yes.
Insulaco?
Yes.
R 2530, Mayor Hartwick.
Please call it.
A resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk to enter into an agreement with the Argenta Contemporary Theater.
Motion to adopt?
Motion
Second.
adopt.
Second. Ross?
Yes.
Hamilton?
Yes.
Hart? Robinson? She's not in the room. Baxter?
Sir, hang on a second. Sir, do me a favor. Can you check on Miss Robinson for me, please, just to make sure she's okay? Oh, is she? All right, Betty, please do it. Thank you. All right, I
Thank you, sir.
apologize. I just concerned.
Okay. Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Fowler?
Yes.
Insulaco?
Betty.
Abstain.
Gotcha. Where are we? We got a pass on that one? Ms. Robinson, we're on R 2530? is that-
30, yes, sir.
And we're asking, it's, say, as it's written. It's okay. I think we have the votes on that anyway.
Yes,
didn't
sir, we do.
So let's go ahead and do it. Let's go to the next one then, please.
R 2531, Mayor Hartwick.
Please.
A resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk to enter into a pre-purchase food agreement with the Arkansas Food Bank.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Ross?
Discussion.
Oh, excuse me.
Mr. Hamilton, please.
I'm not going to make an amendment to split this one up. This is what they expected. As a city, we should honor our commitments and what's been done for the past 20 years. I think we should change it for the future. Arkansas Food Bank has more than a $40 million budget. This $25,000 is a drop in the bucket. What we just did to ACT was 15% of their budget. What we just did to Ozark Mission Project was make sure they can't have anyone for the full month of the summer. We talk about transparency and being a fiduciary. Somebody came to the council, or a council member wanted to cut all of these. Instead of that being a valid discussion here at the council, we're playing games by applying it to some and not others.
Ms. Ross?
I just want to say one thing. You know, the Arkansas Food Bank does have a very large budget, but that $25,000 goes directly back into the food banks in North Little Rock. So,
Any more discussion? Was there an amendment or anything? Let's go ahead. I have a motion, a second.
Yes, sir.
All right, please.
We're ready, sir. Ross?
yes.
Hamilton?
Yes.
Hart? Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Fowler?
Yes.
Insulaco?
Yes.
R 2532, Mayor Hartwick.
Please.
A resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk to enter into an agreement with the North Rock Boys and Girls Club.
Move for adoption.
Second.
Ross?
Yes.
Hamilton? Hart? Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Fowler?
Yes.
Insulaco?
Yes.
R 2533, Mayor Hartwick.
Please.
A resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk to enter into an agreement with the Ozark Mission Project.
Move for adoption.
Second.
Motion second.
Ross?
Yes.
Hamilton? Hart? Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Fowler?
Yes.
Insulaco?
Yes.
R 2534, Mayor Hartwick.
Please.
A resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk to enter into a program agreement with the North Rock Police Athletic League.
Move for adoption.
Second.
Motion second.
Ross?
Yes.
Hamilton? Hart? Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Fowler?
Yes.
Insulaco?
Yes.
R 2535, Mayor Hartwick.
R20, okay, please.
A resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk to enter into an enhanced community service agreement with the River City Ministries of Pulaski County.
Move for adoption.
Second.
Yes, sir. I've been seeing them too, that says 24 is what you're seeing, so it should be 25.
Oh,
Yeah.
We'll fix them. Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah, I've been looking at them. Thank you. Where are we then? On 35, we have a motion, a second, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Please.
Ross?
Yes.
Hamilton? Hart? Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Fowler?
Yes.
Insulaco?
Yes.
R 2536, Mayor Hartwick.
Please.
A resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk to enter into an agreement with Butterfly Community Puentes Project.
Move for adoption.
Second.
Ross?
Yes.
Hamilton? Hart? Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Fowler?
Yes.
Insulaco?
Yes.
R 2537, Mayor Hartwick.
Please.
A resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk to enter into an agreement with the Thea Foundation.
Move for adoption.
Second.
Ross?
Yes.
Hamilton? Hart? Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Fowler?
Yes.
Insulaco?
Yes.
R 2538, Mayor Hartwick.
Please.
A resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk to enter into an agreement with the Potluck Food Rescue.
Move for adoption.
Second.
Ross?
Yes.
Hamilton? Hart? Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Fowler?
Yes.
Insulaco?
Yes.
Thank you. That will move us to new business, sir.
I think that takes us all the way to R 2549, if I'm
Yes,
not
sir.
mistaken, correct?
R 2549, Mayor Hartwick.
Please,
A resolution declaring certain building houses and other structures located at 211 East 18th Street in the city of North Little Rock to constitute a public nuisance and condemning said structures, providing a
Mayor?
period of time for property to abate said nuisance.
Okay, I'm sorry. Can you pull that when it's gone into probate?
okay.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, thank you. Pull R 2549 then, please.
Okay. R 2550, Mayor Hartwick.
Please,
A resolution declaring certain building houses and other structures located at 4509 Haywood Street in the city of North Little Rock to constitute a public nuisance and condemning said structures, providing a period of time for property owner to abate said nuisance.
with that, I need to convene a public hearing. Let me convene a public hearing. Those wishing to speak for or against R 2550, please come forward to the mic. Seeing none, I'll adjourn this public hearing.
Move for adoption.
Second.
Adopt.
Second.
Ross?
Yes.
Hamilton? Hart? Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Fowler?
Yes.
Insulaco?
Yes.
R 2551, Mayor Hartwick.
Please,
A resolution declaring certain building houses and other structures located at 4503 Haywood Street in the city of North Little Rock to constitute a public nuisance, condemning said structures, providing a period of time for property owner to abate said nuisance.
thank you. With that, I need to convene a public hearing. Those wishing to speak for or against this on R 2551, please come forward. Seeing none, I'll adjourn this public hearing. Call it.
Move for adoption.
Second.
In second.
Ross?
Yes.
Hamilton? Hart? Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Fowler?
Yes.
Insulaco?
Yes.
R 2552, Mayor Hartwick.
Please,
A resolution declaring certain building houses and other structures located at 515 Gordon Street in the city of North Little Rock to constitute a public nuisance and condemning said structures, providing a period of time for property owner to abate said nuisance.
thank you. Again, I need to call a public hearing on this. Please, R 2552, those wishing to speak for or against, please come forward. Seeing none, I'll adjourn it.
Move for adoption.
Second.
Ross?
Yes.
Hamilton? Hart? Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Fowler?
Yes.
Insulaco?
Yes.
So that moves us to ordinances.
Please,
O 2516, Mayor Hartwick.
please,
An ordinance establishing job classifications and number of employees for each department of the city government of North Little Rock for 2025, declaring emergency.
Move to suspend the reading.
First reading.
Second.
motion to suspend in second.
Ross?
Yes.
Hamilton? Hart? Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Fowler?
Yes.
Insulaco?
Yes.
Motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Wait. But I have an amendment. Almost fell asleep.
Go ahead.
I would have gotten you.
We were in a groove in there. I think you've got my amendment.
I've got your amendment. First, we're going to fix some scrivener's errors on some misnumbering, but the amendment, if you all look at section 29 of the Vehicle Maintenance Department, it shall consist of 15 full-time employees, and then under the listed employees, heavy equipment shop foreman, F10 is going to be 2 instead of 1. So if Ms. Ross would move that for that amendment.
That's my amendment.
On the amendment. Here's a second.
Second.
There's a second.
On the amendment, Ross?
Yes.
Hamilton? Hart?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Fowler?
Yes.
Insulaco?
Yes.
Motion to adopt is amended.
Well, I've got one more amendment, don't we?
No?
Oh, motion to adopt.
Okay, yeah.
Motion
Motion to
amended.
adopt.
Motion to adopt. again.
Good.
Please,
Second. Ross?
Yes.
Hamilton? Hart?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Fowler?
Yes.
Insulaco?
Yes.
On the emergency, Ross?
Yes.
Hamilton? Hart?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Fowler?
Yes.
Insulaco?
Yes.
O 2517, Councilmember Hart.
Please call it.
An ordinance granting a special use to allow an event center in a C6 zone for certain real property located at 112 Smart House Way.
Ms. Rob,
We got to suspend the
we got to suspend the
readings.
rules first.
Yes, so motion to
First
suspend
reading,
all
I'm
readings.
sorry about that. My apologies.
Motion to suspend all readings, he second.
Second.
Okay. Ross?
Yes.
Hamilton? Yes. Hart?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Fowler?
Yes.
Insulaco?
Yes.
Ms. Robinson.
Okay, Mr.
John, come on up. Or is it Pownell? You want to do him? Okay, Thomas, you got it.
This came before us back in May. So why is it back before us?
Yes, it did. It came before you. The owner of the property wants to, initially had their parking lot for the event center to the east, which was not adjacent to their property. There was a lot between it. It passed and went through. They have since changed their mind and purchased the property to the west. And so we are putting the property to the west. It's a little better. It's adjacent to it, same number of parking spaces, we're asking for the same stipulations for the special use.
Okay.
Ms. Ross?
Yes,
Do you have paved parking?
We do.
You have the appropriate number? And this is basically all you're doing right now is the addition or just moving the parking lot or?
We've just moved the parking lot. The event center itself will be in the same lot, and the parking lot will now be
And
adjacent
it's the
to it.
same owner and everything?
Same owner,
Because I was
yes.
wondering why you didn't have anyone with you, so, okay.
No, it's
So
just
we
me.
had them here the last time. Okay.
And my apologies, Mr. Pownell, I should have
I'm sorry,
said
Ms.
that.
Hart, I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying, this is my first time. I should have explained those points, so they wouldn't have had questions.
Thank you.
but-
Mr. Baxter?
So the parking that's inside the fence, is that still included in that number?
Inside we're not proposing to fence it, but yes, the red line you're talking about?
No.
Talking about the backside?
Or maybe we'll do it on
Backside.
fence.
He's talking about the
The backside.
backside's where he is.
Oh, yes, it's gonna be in the fence.
So, Sean, do they have to have a MOA or anything with the Farm Bureau to get around there?
So originally they were here,
Or are they coming in the other way?
and now they're coming in, they're moving over here, so they'll come down the middle Smart House Way.
Okay, all right,
Right.
And park in that area right there.
okay.
So they're just basically moving the parking lot from.
They moved the parking lot from the east side to the west side, that's what they're
Okay.
doing.
All right.
Cleaning up, it's just paperwork cleanup, basically. One spot to another.
Where are we?
Let's go.
Motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt?
Mo-
Ms. Ross?
The motion.
Ms.
Motion to adopt?
Okay,
Second.
Ms. Hart?
Okay. Ross?
Yes.
Hamilton? Hart?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Fowler?
Yes.
Insulaco?
Yes.
On the emergency, Ross?
Yes.
Hamilton? Hart? Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Fowler?
Yes.
Insulaco?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you, Tom.
O2518, Mayor Hartwick for
Please.
consideration only.
Sean? Come on, go ahead.
An ordinance amending ordinance number 9718, which granted a special use to allow an auto detailing in a C5 zone for certain real property located at 815 East Broadway Street in North Rock, Arkansas, and to remove certain conditions declaring emergency. First reading.
Let's go ahead and get
Bring
suspended.
suspend all ratings.
Thank you.
Second.
Is the applicant here?
That's what I'm about to ask.
Okay, let's vote on the
Let's go, let's
suspend
get
the
the, let's
readings.
get the vote,
we got it
please, and
first.
I'll get to it.
Ross?
I don't see that.
Yes.
Hamilton? Hart?
She just left.
Absent.
Oh, I apologize. Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Fowler?
Yes.
Insulaco?
Yes.
All right, there's a question asked, is the applicant here? If not, okay, Sean, explain this, what he's doing, please.
So, I don't know, about 5 months ago, 6 months ago, they came before you guys, same applicant and everything, asked to do auto detailing and at this location. Part of our requirements in our being the zoning ordinance has a set of stipulations, and one of them is to meet ADQ's requirements on where the soapy water goes. And it's not allowed to go down into the street and into the storm water out to the river eventually. It's not allowed to do that. So you got to put in, I think they're called an oil interceptor. And that's one of the requirements, and what he's asking is not to do that, because he didn't have the money or the finances or anything to do that there. So he's just wanting to, I mean, like he's been doing for years on Broadway, wash cars and the water just runs, into the street.
Ms. Ross?
And these are the requirements, car washes, I had a friend that owned a car wash, and it's the exact same thing that, the local car washes have, the these requirements are also on them too, correct?
Correct.
And with the oil interceptor, and you have to pay to have somebody clean that out and everything.
Correct,
so-
yeah. So
and-
I think it's the oil interceptor, and it catches everything and strains it before it goes into the city sewer system.
All right.
And
Baxter?
so he's not changing his business practice at all as far as, he's not taking washes away. He still wants to continue to wash vehicles, is that correct?
Correct. He just doesn't want to follow the state guidelines.
And I noticed that in the legislation, there's two documents, right? There's one from wastewater.
There's one from wastewater, you know, asking them, well, I don't have it right in front of me, but I'm assuming it's the one that's saying that they are asking for them to meet the requirements. Isn't it?
No, it didn't.
No, in my reading of the document from wastewater, it says, yeah,
Okay, so-
it's fine, you can do without it. However, it's ADEQ that matters, is that?
Correct, yeah, that's what they were saying, there was, we need to be following ADEQ.
ADEQ, roger that. All right.
So they didn't want to waive it because they didn't
Just
want to waive,
making
just
sure
like
that
us, we don't want
I'm
to waive
tracking.
ADEQ's requirements.
Thank you. Anybody else? Jim, where are we? For a vote?
Is there a motion?
We just need a motion for adoption.
Second.
Thank you.
Ross?
No.
Hamilton?
No.
Hart? Robinson?
No.
Baxter?
No.
Harris?
No.
Fowler?
No.
Insulaco?
No.
O 2519, Councilmember Robinson.
Please call it.
An ordinance amending section 11.3 of the zoning ordinance, ordinance number 9263, to require a conditional use for heavy manufacturing, assemblage, and processing without outdoor storage, declaring emergency, first reading.
Move to suspend all readings.
Second.
Ross?
Yes.
Hamilton? Hart? Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris? Fowler?
Yes.
Insulaco?
Yes.
All right,
Motion-
hang on, I got to convene a public hearing on this, okay?
Oh,
So y'all let me convene a public hearing. Those wishing to speak for or against O 2519, please come forward. Seeing none, I'll adjourn the public hearing. So now is a motion to suspend all rules. We've already done that, so.
Yes, sir. We just need a motion to adopt.
motion to adopt.
Second.
Okay. Ross?
Yes.
Hamilton? Hart? Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Fowler?
Yes.
Insulaco?
Yes.
On the emergency, Ross?
Yes.
Hamilton? Hart? Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Fowler?
Yes.
Insulaco?
Thank you.
Yes.
That concludes the business, sir.
Any public comment? I don't have any in front of me, so there was none. Any council members have any more comments? Okay, so move.
Wait, no.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry.
Real quick.
Go ahead, Ms. Whitby.
So I want to make an announcement. So Jim Scott, who is here with us and has been in the clerk's office for 3 years, is going to be leaving us at the end of the week.
No.
He is going back to the police department that he loves, so bad on you. But Jim's going back. He's going to be the fleet manager for the police department, so we're excited for him in his new role. Jim knew that if he was going to leave, he had to find his replacement. So sitting next to me is David Pettit, a retired North Little Rock police officer who is serving as a court bailiff right now. He will be leaving that position Friday and joining our team Monday. So say farewell to one and welcome to another.
Good to have you, Jim. I think I heard a motion, didn't I?
I said motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second.
Wait,
Ross?
I think Steve had something to say.
Discussion.
Mayor, just
Oh, I'm
give me
sorry.
a second.
I didn't see.
So-
Thank you, Steve.
So I just want to say, as it relates to these event centers, right? One seemed to pass through quickly without very much discussion, and the other one, there was a much discussion over 3 meetings. I'm going to say that we need to understand that special use, this council can put anything we want to on there and see if it takes, right? You throw it against the wall, if it sticks, great, if it doesn't, it doesn't, right? But also the differences in between these two were, one was an industrial area, one was a commercial area. 2 different things, 2 different animals there, right? One was near a community, one wasn't near a community, or the community didn't have a problem with it because they didn't show up. So let's just keep in mind that sometimes, you know, while it may be apples and apples, you've got a Gala apple and you got a Fuji apple, all right? So I'm
kind
just
of apple?
throwing that,
What kind of apple?
Gala or a Fuji.
Oh.
You don't eat apples very often, do you, Mayor?
No, Ms. Ross.
Well, I do want to say something because having two of them on the same, on the same agenda, I did go back and pull the minutes from the Smart House Way Event Center when it was here 5 months ago, and the same questions were asked. It was the same discussion as this one was, so I want to clarify that.
Applied equally.
Ms. Robinson.
I just want to make one comment. That is to our nonprofits. I don't have anything against you, okay? I just want you to know that I don't have anything against the nonprofits.
Anybody else? Where are we?
So moved.
There's a motion and there's a second.
Ross?
Yes.
Hamilton? Yes. Hart? Yes. Robinson?
Yes.
Baxter?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Fowler? Yes. Insulaco?
Affirmative.
I got it.